favorite, most active touring club DJs right now and check in on their current situations. So kick back with us for a couple hours and let's start the show. As always, kick off the show for us as one.
What it do? This is the legendary guru. I got my man with me, Geometrix.
Stylus Chris.
DJ as one, chops it with precision. It's an ill mind still. It's an ill. It's an ill mind that's still time building, refine. Still getting mine in the nine. Geometrix.
Stylus Chris.
DJ as one.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's good, everybody? DJ Geometrix here, and we're back at it again on this Thursday night with the 9 at 9, the only show on the internet where we have 9 DJs on a round table panel discussing today's DJ topics. So this show is presented to you by Beat Refinery DJ School at Bach to Rock. If you want to learn how to mix, scratch, and make music, visit us at beatrefinery.com with locations nationwide. As always, we're live streaming on Beat Refinery's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. For the people watching the stream right now, if you want to join us on the Zoom chat, hit up that link on your screen, bit.ly/the 9 at 9. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the 9 at 9 on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, and wherever else you consume and listen to all things podcasts. So, on to tonight's show. Like I said before, we have some of our favorite touring club DJs in the building right now. We'll get an update on their current situations and get their insights on what's going on with the world around them. So, as always, let me introduce the rest of the hosts, my partners in crime, the Beat Refinery crew. You heard him earlier. We have DJ as one.
What up?
Next up, we have DJ Sean J.
Yes, sir. Salutations.
And finally, we have Stylus Chris.
What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for being here tonight. We are now into our 6th episode here at the 9 at 9. We've been having a lot of fun chopping it up with some of the most talented DJs around the country, around the world. This week is no different, no exceptions. I'm going to run him down like I always do in alphabetical order. He is practically one of our Beat Refinery. He might as well be on the crew. He's been on the show a few times now. We love having him on. He's half of Alpha Pair with DJ Excel. He is a coffee snob. He is a junkie. He is part of the Scratch Mechanics and also co-founder of the Night Brunch in Baltimore. Our brother, let's give it up for DJ Impulse.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Glad you're here.
They're coming back.
This next DJ hails sometimes from Miami. DJ KONFLIKT, a DJ that has competed and won Red Bull 3-style battles, played for various nightclubs all over the world, and has flown over 1,000,000 miles. 1,000,000, y'all, to provide the clubs with taste of Miami sound. He has a DJ podcast on Apple Podcast. If you haven't checked it out, and Spotify. It's named My Favorite DJ. He is DJ KONFLIKT.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for being here, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Next up, he is our buddy. He has just been recently married right before all this went down.
Hey.
He is known for his masterful bolognese sauce. For sure. This next fun fact about him is pretty much the full yin and the yang. He has Obama follow him on Twitter, and he also has an arch enemy in Michael Jordan. Go figure. He's a Red Bull 3-style past finalist, travel experiences all over the world, Shanghai, LA, up and down the East Coast, West Coast. He is our brother, DJ Koo from Tampa.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Glad to see you. I think he's usually in Tampa, but he's in South Park tonight as we
Equity Farms.
This next DJ, originally from Seattle, has a background in hip hop and turntablism, moved to LA. She won so many DJ battles, I couldn't even list them all when I was going through her resume. She moved to Las Vegas in 2008. Internationally touring, she's probably been on more continents than most of us, for sure. Caribbean and Asia. She's DJ'd all over the country for various brands as a brand ambassador. She is an incredible ambassador for the art of DJing with her passion project, Camp Spinoff. Now going into, I believe it's a 7th year. She is Tina T.
Yeah.
Tina!
What's up, Tina?
Hey guys.
So glad you're with us.
So Camp Spinoff, I sent you an outdated bio. This would have been Camp Spinoff's 11th year.
Woo! 11 years.
Wow.
Man, that's amazing. We're going to get more into that for sure in the show. And last but not least, originally from the VA area, now hailing from LA. On his bio, he said he used to be a touring DJ with residencies in Vegas, LA, New York, San Francisco, Vietnam. Now he's a resident on Twitch.
Yeah, buddy.
He's toured with the likes of Anderson .Paak and Aquafina. He is down old school crew member with some of the guys here in this show. Let's give it up for DJ Zoe.
What's up?
All right, thank you, As One. So we'll just right where we left off with Zoe, bro. What's going on? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I just took a shot earlier, and
Cheers.
yeah.
Penicillin
nice
or
I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm at this like studio where we do our lives at. That's my boy Tony right there. Say hello. You're on the air, Tony.
What up, Tony?
Tony.
And yeah, I'm feeling nice. Quarantine. It's been I guess it's been kind of the silver lining is like all these dope ass routines are coming out on the internet. A lot of DJs are getting in some good practice, like some cool scratches, cool mixes, and all the memes that are coming out right now are fucking hilarious. So, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of art in every direction that's being made. I think there's one of the most interesting things is aside from what we love in the music and the culture of that side of art is the art of cooking. People have been like,
oh, yeah.
Everybody's cooking skills are getting up, right? And if you're into it or weren't into it, you're kind of feeling yourself.
1,000%. That's
like I've seen recently where they're doing like live streams of like chefs are doing recipes and people are like following along right at the same time. It's kind of like it's really cool, man.
Didn't Trace do a live cooking show while he was
Yeah. Let that boy cook.
Wow.
That's Trey's always has to one up and multitask on everything. Shout out to our brother Trey's, man. He was like cooking, building a studio with putting walls in and insulation,
Making the perfect pizza.
Yeah, and making perfect pizza.
Hell yeah.
Super dad.
Beat Refinery brother Trace. Hope you're doing.
Shout out Trace.
That fool got a pizza oven in his backyard now.
I know.
Hell yeah.
I was like, wow.
Oh, you should have seen this.
900 degrees, he
talking
said.
about. Yeah, he was like, dude, it cooks a pizza in a minute at 900 degrees. He was like super into it, man. I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah, man.
That was fun.
Conflict, where are you at right now, brother? How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm currently in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, so I live here.
Sometimes, as you say, because you travel so much.
Well, I used to. I used to travel a lot. Yeah, I was gone almost every weekend.
It's crazy to anybody that follows you on social media or they know where you're always it's like it seems like every weekend you're somewhere different. What has that been like to actually this is probably the longest you've been home in I would imagine in years.
Yeah, excuse me. You're absolutely right. So the last about 10 years or so I've spent traveling. It was a slow ramp up, but eventually got down to being every weekend. And I personally hate flying, so I never really liked the transmission of my body inside of a steel tube at 35,000 feet or aluminum tube, whatever it's made out of. But I love DJing for crowds, and so like places that wanted to have me, and it was like okay, I'll bite the bullet to be on this airplane and actually get there so I can play for somewhere new and a new crowd of people, because I love doing that. So now I have been grounded for more than 60 days, and I feel great. This is awesome. I don't miss traveling. I really don't. I miss DJing for people, but I don't miss the travel aspect.
Yeah, that's I think a lot of people that you know, and you guys, we can talk about it during the show, and just how touring in itself, they think it's just such a great life. And I was on a tour, as Art was saying to you guys before the show. I was on a world tour when I was 18, 19 years old as a b-boy, and you know, when you're doing 64 shows in like 78 days, they don't understand the pain it puts your body through on so many levels. And you know, it certainly is probably putting years back on all of our lives to just be a bit more quiet and not traveling as much. Too, I know you were always I feel like you were pretty much a resident at Heist at DC, but coming like once every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and hitting pitch.
Yeah.
You're down in Miami, and
No, I'm Tampa.
no, but you travel even to Miami. You're always traveling. I see you playing everywhere. I feel like I know Conflict touched on this though, but I feel like amazing. This has done like kind of wonders for my body. Just not even like, I don't travel as much as Conflict does or anything like that, but just being at home and not drinking and just
partying,
cooling out, you know, like partying does a number on you, man. Like, this is the best I've felt in years.
Yeah, it's
and actually going to sleep in a decent hour.
I mean, that hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed. But I mean, at least I'm getting like the most sleep I've ever gotten.
Yeah, I got a text from you at like 8:45 this morning, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, okay."
The earlier you get up, the more you get done.
I know, right?
And Tina, who's your friend on your lap there?
This is Oscar.
What's up, Oscar?
Hey, Oscar.
He's passed out. You know, it's funny when you guys were talking about cooking, because I got into my phase of cooking too, but then I totally got shamed, because it's like, it made me realize that literally you can't do anything without offending somebody, because I got this post on Facebook that's like, there's people lining up at food banks, there's people, and it's all true. It made me realize, and I kind of felt bad, and then I stopped posting all my, you know, I was so proud of my eggplant parmesan and all these things, and I was posting, and it's like people are just complaining about gaining weight, posting all these food photos while other people can't afford to eat. And I'm like, thanks for ruining all of that for me. I'm like, I can't even eat without offending someone these days.
There was people going hungry way before this pandemic, and those people did not express outrage back then. So
sensitive when people like
You
say something
are
like
right.
think, and then I feel bad. But I know, I agree. I mean, it's stupid that we can't even eat. And it's like, hey, if that's how I'm getting through this pandemic, I'm getting joy and I'm cooking and I'm proud. Now someone has to go just like rain on my parade. It just, you know. You know, that's not, see, we could go on and on. I'm not even going to go down the Facebook can of worms, but yeah.
Well, Facebook is a battlefield these days.
When people start a war with me, I've only blocked one person on Facebook, and that's it. I'm like, hey, get it off your chest. I don't care. Say whatever you want to say. I'm not going to block you. I've never learned anything from people agreeing with me. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, I think to your point, and Conflict, to your what you're saying is it's hard for some people to understand everything that we all do, and like, you know, I think there's a balance between being thankful and grateful, and also expressing joy in the things that bring you joy. It's in my opinion, at least, I feel like if there's something that brings you joy and you express it, you're probably going to bring comfort to somebody else. And you know, I feel like there has to be a balance between, you know, and to the people I know on this panel, you know, we try to do a lot to give back to the culture, and I would assume the people that I don't know also do that, and also just to give back to your community. I think DJs in general have a very giving spirit. You know, there's a lot of times where you're, you know, the whole art of being a DJ is because you want to connect and bring joy to people. If you're not happy or bringing joy, then you're almost missing the whole purpose of what a DJ is supposed to do. It's really, you're supposed to bring joy to people. People are looking to you for something that's going to put a pause on whatever they're doing. I think the unique thing about what we've been going through, and shout out to all of you that have been, like you guys were saying, there's routines and there's so many dope DJs that we're getting to check in on more than often. And if we feel that way, there's a lot of people that are on the same side of that, just regular folks that are just really grateful to see music being played and to be able to communicate with their friends. And, you know, so let your joy show, Tina.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Cook.
Yeah, I actually got on a
Post
plane
those-
yesterday.
post those
I flew to Arizona for the first time during this whole since lockdown, and it was a really crazy experience. Like the whole Vegas airport at 9 a.m. was completely empty. Like I've just never seen anything like it. The plane was pretty full, but it was not. I actually enjoy traveling a lot. I like my lounges. I like getting there, having a glass of wine. I like watching movies. It's relaxing for me. And this was like the worst travel experience ever. Just everyone's so on edge. I was on edge. I didn't want to touch anything. I didn't want to put my tray table down. I just didn't want to do anything. And
The lounge open?
Huh?
Was the lounge open?
I didn't even try because I didn't want to I wanted to be literally not touch anything, not go to anything. It was not the same. And then at the end of it, I was like, you know what? I'm good. Until this kind of whole thing calms down, I really don't want to travel. I'm going to go see my parents in July in Seattle, and I think I'm just going to drive. Like, that's how bad it was. And, yeah, this flight attendant, I'll admit, I broke my mask off to sip my coffee when I was getting on the plane.
Even.
I had it in my purse, and I was sipping my coffee, and the flight attendant says, do you have a mask? And I was like, yeah, I do. I've actually got 2 in my purse. I just wanted to finish my coffee before I got on the plane. She's like, yeah, I get it. Coffee's really important.
Oh,
what?
I was like, I see where she's coming from. And then
What airline?
Yeah, but
Call him out.
And then I get it. Hey, people could look at it as I'm being completely disrespectful. But then it became kind of this challenge. And then one by one, all the flight attendants kept bothering me. And I put my mask on, but no one was sitting around me. And I don't know. I just don't like, I'm sure as most of us in the whole mask argument, I just don't like being forced to do, do things. So instead of arguing with them or instead of saying, causing a scene, I'm just going to choose not to fly for a while. It was bad.
I mean,
how different was TSA?
They only allowed a certain amount of people at a time. Everyone's just so spread out. So, there wasn't a line because no one's at the airport, but they're making you do. And when Southwest boards, they only board 10 people at a time, as opposed to everyone lining up like they normally do. And so things were a little bit different. The pilot came out and did a whole speech with no mask on, by the way. And he was saying how we should all treat each other kindly and be nice. It was just, I don't know. It was just weird. Wasn't the same.
Well, it was crazy. A few weeks ago, we had DJ Ease on, and he literally picked up the Zoom call from the cabin of an airport where he had to take an emergency flight to pick up his daughter.
He was getting his baggage out.
Yeah, and we watched him go through the process of deplaning all the way to getting home, and the airport was like a ghost town. It was really kind of creepy looking, and I'm curious, to all you guys, you guys fly so much as it is. Were you already super kind of conscious of cleaning your space and taking care of yourself and vitamins? What's your regimen just in a normal time of flying?
Well, especially you, Zoe. You came from you were on an Asia tour.
I was in the hot spots. I was in Asia and I was in Italy too, up until March 10. So they should do a study on my immune system because I did not catch that Rona. But yeah, I did wipe everything down, and I have a mat. I'm currently.
Are you licking your fingers when you're cutting?
No, because I'm using CDJs, but my boy Neva was like, he's like, yeah, lick my fingers on the CDJ. I'm like, why do you do that?
Yeah, it's
It's out of habit.
man.
But what was the question? Yeah, I was on an Asia tour, Thailand, and I don't know, I forget. But yeah, I've got like the Lysol wipes. I wipe down my area. That international flight though, like if you go from LA to Korea and you're wearing like a mask, it's really, really hard like to breathe and just it's kind of a pain in the ass too, especially if the N95 one, like that one is really hard to breathe. So
when you were out in say Asia, could you tell like the difference in the tone of?
Oh yeah, when I was DJing in Vietnam, like March like 2nd or something, and the bottle service waitresses all had masks like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Smoke a cigarette, and like the person that goes to light your cigarette and he has a mask on. Like everyone has a mask. When you go into the club before you get in, they check your temperature.
Temperature checks. Yep.
Singapore had that too.
Thailand, not
Thailand also. And then I remember coming back. I ended it early. I was supposed to go to Bali and also somewhere else. And then I ended up coming back early because it started to get serious in the U.S. and I was worried that I would have problems at the border.
Getting
like,
stuck.
you know,
for
so I landed in Korea. I remember I was flying from Vegas to Korea, and then what had happened was when I took off, there was only like 30 cases in Korea, and then when I landed, it was like 900. So literally, when I landed, I went to the counter, and then I was like, "Yo, what's the next flight out of here?" And I just went back home.
Wow.
Yeah,
get me out of here.
But the promoter was like, "Oh, it's cool. Don't worry, we'll get you back."
That's crazy. Konflikt, have you you know, with all the miles that you log every year, you must have like a regiment. And I think probably a lot of us are familiar with, you know, you had a great post a few years back of like what's in your gig bag. Like I remember I had that as like a bookmark save for a minute just to like double check and like, oh, there's still a couple things I need to put in my gig bag. It was such a really concise approach to it all. So what's your regiment like as much as you go?
Well, when I did travel, what I realized was that just a few simple sanitation items, like when it was available, hand sanitizer, well, you know, with the alcohol, or sanitation wipes that have like antibacterial properties. So what I would do is obviously avoid touching my face as much as possible. Before I eat, if I have to eat airport food, I would try to wash my hands. If I can't wash them, then use sanitation wipe on my hands, try not to touch the food. In regards to like in the cabin and around people, I never wore a mask because it wasn't that big of a deal. Back in December, I caught influenza B. Yeah, I got it. I think I got it when I went to Minnesota, and it started manifesting about, I remember I was making something in the kitchen, and I looked up and I'm getting something really, really bad. I can always feel my fevers coming on, and I was like, yo, this is really bad. I had to work. So this is kind of a long run up story, but it gets to the point of why I started wearing masks even before people started wearing masks. So on Wednesday, I start feeling the symptoms, Wednesday afternoon. Thursday morning, I wake up and I'm wrecked. So I start taking Tylenol. Every 4 hours, it brings my fever down so I can operate that night, Thursday night. I had to go to work at 11, and that's after hours. So that's 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. And the day after, well, the morning after that gig, I had to immediately get to the airport and go to San Diego. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to wake up at midnight, and if I can't make it, I'm just going to have to cancel San Diego last minute. I'll call up DJ Obscene, a friend of mine in Miami. I had him on standby. So I woke up and I felt okay, took some Tylenol, and I said, all right, let's rock and roll. Got to 11, left 11. The second I would let more than 4 hours go by, my fever would spike, and I would just be a wreck. So I actually did wear a mask. I'm kind of a safety guy, so I had N95 masks in my house prior to this. So on the trip to San Diego, I put on a mask. So I did 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., went straight to the airport, like a 9:30 flight to LA, slept on the whole flight with a mask on. got on an Uber, went to the train station, did a train to San Diego, slept all day, did the gig at night, and I told DJ Quiz, I'm like, yo, stay away from me. You have kids, and I don't want to get you sick.
Mm.
So I'm in the booth with him and G-Eazy, and I'm just like trying to not cough on anyone. Then the next morning I wake up and I'm like, yo, this is the 4th day that I feel this way. There's something wrong. So I go and they test me, and the guy's like, you have influenza B. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen anyone handle it as well as you, but you're done. You have to stay here. There's fluid in your ears. Your nose is destroyed. You can't go anywhere.
You're a G, but sit down, dude. Yeah.
Exactly. And I had to go to Reno that day. I had to cancel Reno and cancel my flight back home and all that stuff. So I spent an extra day in San Diego and flew back against the doctor's orders, like 24 hours after that. So from that point on, I was like, I'm not getting sick on the road anymore because my preventative measures are not doing enough. So I'm like, okay, every time I'm on an airplane from now on during flu season, I'm wearing a mask. I don't care if I look like a dummy. That's just what I'm going to do. So for the weeks after that I had to travel, January and February, I was wearing masks. So maybe that helped, avoid anything that was around. But yeah, my regimen at the end of the day didn't end up preventing influenza B from wrecking my system.
Well, and I would also think, when you're traveling and just busy, probably not getting enough sleep, that type of climate that you're going through every day, as much as you take vitamins or I know our brother Throwdown put me onto the black seed oil. I was taking that stuff, like the pills of that every day for the for the strength, yo. It comes from the gods, bro.
Nice.
But
it's so good, bro.
I think and I'd love to hear your guys' perspective on maybe a time that you had to, we just heard it from you, Konflikt, but like DJs don't get enough credit for the amount of responsibility that's put on them to be at a gig, whether it's a private event, like a corporate event or a wedding or a club that night. Like, we don't have the opportunity to just call out. We don't do that. And most of us, I know I've DJed plenty of times with a trash bag right next to me, yakking into it between songs, from just like you're saying, like you're showing up at a gig sick, and it's
drinking, or you were sick.
No, sick. I mean, I've had a couple really bad ones where I carry Dramamine in my DJ bag just in case you get the wobbles, because you can't be doing like I do baseball too. It's like there's no way that you can, put that kind of pressure on the rest of people depending on you. And so most of us we fight through it. So I would love to hear like some of your guys' like stories of fighting through the madness.
New Year's Eve in Hawaii, I had the food poisoning like peaked right as I was supposed to get on, and yeah, I had a trash bag, and I was like, I had flown to Hawaii, stayed 2 extra days, and I'm like, if I have to pass out, I'm still gonna play. I was throwing up the whole time. I only played for an hour, and then I ended up giving the opening guy some cash to get back on. I felt so bad because he was there with his girlfriend, and I'm like, I can't. Like, they had to like carry me back out. It was bad. But I actually carry anti-nausea. I carry a bunch of stuff in my DJ bag, like stuff for headaches, Pepto-Bismol, anti-nausea, Dramamine, just literally something for everything.
Yeah.
I definitely had like a couple ratchet like tour stories where I definitely pushed my body to the limit. One is pretty much a too much info story, but I told it on my stream yesterday, so I'll just tell it here too. But we were touring with my boy Dumbfounded. It was one of those. It was a long time ago. It was one of those tours where we had to drive everywhere. So we had like one of those vans and we were driving. And I was just putting my body through so much shit. I was drinking every day, like. So my tour drink was like 1 part Jameson, 1 part Alka-Seltzer, 1 part Emergency. I thought it was tight. I would do that. And then this is the too much info part.
Hold on, let me write that down.
I definitely got sick, and I was like diarrheaing blood for like 6 days. And like I was like, yo, on like the 5th day, I was like, damn, maybe I should see a doctor. Like, this is really concerning. And then I kind of like nursed myself back to life by just drinking Pedialyte and eating white rice for like the remaining few days of the tour. It was at the end of the tour too.
Wow.
And then I was okay.
Did you just say you shit blood for 5 days and you were like, oh,
Yeah,
maybe
bro.
now's the time to
After the 5th day.
after the 5th day, like, okay.
It was really scary. I was like, like if you start Googling shit, like, WebMD, like, oh shit, I'm dying. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to avoid anything. So, but shout out to Pedialyte. I'll be back to life.
See, I'll take throwing up any day over diarrhea because I wouldn't have the confidence to stand at a DJ booth if I was gonna suddenly have diarrhea. But throwing up all day. But diarrhea, no. That's when I have to draw the line.
Yeah,
I can't run to a club bathroom with a line of girls and then blow it up and then come out. Face everybody in line and look at my poster on the door of the bathroom too.
Like, oh, that was
I've definitely also puked in my sleeve while I'm DJing. Like, I was nowhere to puke, and then I was like, oh shit. It was in Mansion in Costa Mesa. I was like,
I've definitely done that in a beer bottle for sure.
Not a, sick story.
That beer bottle game's like Russian roulette right there.
That's exactly why I don't eat heavy before my work. Before gigging, like at all. I always try to avoid.
That used to be my routine right there, man. Like I have.
I go out. I get it in after, bro. 3, 4 in the morning, like whatever. But
There's no way I'm gonna do the pre-dinner before the club.
yeah, no pre-dinner before the club gigs.
Not gonna meet up with a promoter.
I agree.
Then
My worst story was with Bill one night. We went to Lido's, and between the two of us, I was a bachelor at this point. We had a what's it called? One of those large square giant pizzas, like just a really awesome, like cheesy thick shit. And I remember just before peak hour, it was 11:40, and there's like 2 fans that are just pumping at me, right? And then all of a sudden I notice like beads of sweat dropping down my cheek, and then like down my forehead, and I just go, oh my god, I was full on sweating, and then next thing you know, my stomach is like, boom, and exactly what happened. I had to, as a short guy, it's not, I don't care, if I'm the DJ or not. These people don't give a shit. I gotta push my way through the club to get to the bathroom, and I remember taking care of business, and this one dude walked in. He was like, "Damn, this man blowing it up in here," and I was
DJ
like,
taking
"Oh
a shit."
God. Toilet humor. I don't know why we just went there.
You said,
but,
Gio, you said you don't like to eat heavy foods. I have a question.
Oh, hey, man, like especially like pizza, like anything acidic, like
before, right?
Good, bro.
But I have a question, I guess, for everybody then. Like, what is the etiquette for if the organizer or the promoter, and it's in a different country or a different city, and they say, oh, we want to take you out to eat here before, we'll go eat dinner and then we'll go to the club. Do you guys tend to try and eat with them, or
I try to respect that.
fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Try and do it
But
as
eat light though.
Still.
I'm like, yeah,
Very
let's go to
light.
Fast 30.
What happens if they
Yeah,
all
yeah.
they send out every dish? Do you eat every dish?
Take a bite of every.
I feel like everybody's got their own boundaries with that, but I know me personally, I don't drink when I work and just have always operated that way. But anytime I have those pre-gig dinners, I'm very okay with saying no, and I can justify it with like, oh no, I don't want to mess up because I'm too full. You just have to present it in a way where it feels like it's a good idea for them to hear it that way, or at least that's my experience. But I definitely want to hear if anybody else has any other tips on how to navigate those, because that gets very political very quick.
And so much of it is genetics to me. Like, I always tell people, if you have a bladder problem, you can't be a DJ. Like, and literally, I mean, I'm very lucky, but I've been DJing over 20 years, and I can count on one hand how many times I've had to leave the booth to go to the bathroom. And it's one of those things where as long as I go before I start, I mean, and I'm talking any kind. I've never took a dump in a club, It's just, I've been blessed to never
Try taking a dump at the club during the finals.
Wow.
Days, right?
During final days, you gotta put on a wicked mix.
I had to like put on like a long song for that one, man.
Like R. Kelly, "Step in the Name of Love." I feel like this takes about minutes.
Mega mix.
You did that? You took a shit in the final days? And
Play like Rapper's Delight and you're good to go.
You can play the live version of Gil Scott-Heron in the Bottle. It's 18 minutes long.
There we go.
Yep.
Got to give it up.
Got to Give It Up's a good long one. It's funny to think about how different it was in those days of when we were all just vinyl DJs and how you had to really plot your life based around the limitations. Now it's like, if it's a lot easier now. You just like put on that one of those bathroom break mixes that you got from Club Killers or wherever, and just take your break. But it's certainly one of those I think unsung, like unglorified things about being a DJ is the amount of commitment we have to make to a gig, and then the things we go through during in our own physical presence. You're locked in place for a few 3-4 hours. And I mean, I remember the one time at Fly, Inferno was DJing when Serato had first came out, and I hadn't touched it yet, and I was like, and he was like, bro, I got to go to the bathroom. And if anybody remembers Fly Lounge in DC, it's also Heist now, but it's a place that holds like 85 people that they put 140 into. So trying to go to the bathroom is impossible. And Inferno was like, bro, I got to go to the bathroom. You got to take over. And I'm like, you're crazy. I've never touched this Serato thing before. I'm no way. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. He's like, kind of like, come on, man. I got you. And he was like, and he found like a 12-minute bathroom thing and went off. And I was kind of laughing at him the whole time. But
I've definitely put that burden.
Chris. You let him down.
I did. I was terrified. It was like 05, 06. I was terrified of Serato. I've
definitely put that burden on like an unwilling homegirl or homie. I'm like, yo, when this one's done, push this play button right here.
Right.
And when it runs out, I'm like, it's not gonna run out.
Don't take your eyes off of the waveform.
I think one day I'll probably just try adult diapers.
Yes, dude.
I mean,
Okay.
why
Now we're
not
getting somewhere.
wear it and then see what happens? There's definitely times where I wish I did have one on because I was not able to go and then had to hold it for hours. So yeah.
We're talking about number 1 or number 2 here.
For one. I don't know, but I'm one of the types of people that have a small bladder and have to pee all the time. I think when I'm DJing, adrenaline kicks in and it's not as bad, but when I'm on road trips, I think about it too. I'm like, man, I could save so much time if I just tried some of these adult diapers. So if you're out there and you have a bladder problem, don't let it stop you from DJing. If there's a way, they make adult diapers.
Yo, we need the DJ diaper.
Any endorsements out there?
DJ diapers.
Here first.
Yeah. If someone makes DJ diapers, the 9 of us are getting a royalty out of that because it happened here on this.
No question.
Documented. DJ diapers. This is the crew that started
And
it.
you're just gonna be sitting in your piss for like the rest of the set.
Also, how do you keep a straight
wet
face?
bathing suit?
You're like, yo, chill. I'm peeing right
Yeah,
now.
like imagine DJing a club and like looking out at the people and just being like, I'm taking a piss right now.
Relieving yourself.
Got a piss. Wow, man.
I don't think I've had any of those stories. Like
Lies.
Because you're a proper gentleman.
No. I'm wrong.
Yes,
I
lies.
was playing. I know. Listen, I was playing at Vanity at the Hard Rock, and I remember whoever was the manager. Anyway, they took me to the steakhouse. I had bone marrow for the first time.
Ooh.
30 minutes, I felt it like almost instantly. Like 30 minutes into my set, I'm like, yo, something's not right. And they were like, what's wrong? And I was like, something's not right. They're like, you need to use the bathroom. There's a bathroom right here. There was actually a bathroom in the booth.
Oh, wow.
That's
which
awesome.
is V rare. So I was like, nah. I think it's worse than that. It's worse than that. And the club hadn't it wasn't like super cracking yet. So I put so I asked the opener if he could go back on, and I literally ran all the way to. It was a photo finish, guys. Like I had to go all the way back to my room on the other side of the hotel.
It was peaking.
It was like, it was like dumb.
Peaking.
It was like dumb. It was like Dumb and Dumber for real.
Oh my gosh, Gio, give us a station break.
Yeah, basically it's 9:40. So everybody, once again, if you're watching this live stream on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you can join us in the Zoom chat by hitting up that link on the screen. Just make sure to like, share the feed wherever you're watching it. That's pretty much it. We have Sean J's weekly segments as well as ours coming up like around 10 o'clock, 10:30. But continuing on the discussion, let's get a little serious here. So, what do you guys think? When is everything gonna reopen as far as nightclubs or even bars? I heard that Vegas is possibly opening up some of the casinos on June 1st. I know some of the states around the nation, they're reopening as we speak, and I've heard stories where DJs have started working at local bars and clubs. So for KOO and KONFLIKT, especially you guys are in Florida, you guys are probably one of the first states that kind of reopened or was forcing to reopen. What have you guys heard in your neighborhood?
Right now, they just finished rolling out the last half of phase 1. So that means that restaurants are back up at like 50% right now. And there's a lot of restaurants, especially in my town, that are hiring DJs again. And a lot of guys in town are back to work already. Kind of jumping through the loophole of, oh, we're a restaurant, we're not a club, but this shit looks like a fucking club. Like, it's 500, 600 people inside of a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like bottle service, the whole nine. And I'm just, I haven't jumped into it yet because I'm just not comfortable with that. So I've been staying home, but just looking online, I'm like, man, Florida's gonna Florida, man.
Florida's gonna Florida.
Yeah.
I have a pretty pessimistic view of the whole situation. I can maybe present that case, and maybe once someone out there wants to do the optimistic case view. As KOO mentioned, we opened up South Florida, not in Miami yet. Miami-Dade County hasn't opened up like in a way that I can see. Some DJs do have gigs, but nightclubs are pretty much last on the list, specifically because they're like the way that they're built. It's like, person to person, shoulder to shoulder, dancing, being together. It's like if there was a terrible profession to be in when a pandemic strikes, we didn't find out in 1918, but we're finding out now that being a DJ is one of the worst. Potentially, anything that has to do with nightclubs, bartenders, barbacks, sweepers, anything that has to do with luxury entertainment. It's a wrap when there's a pandemic, like the worst. Obviously, everyone's feeling pain in different sectors, but this is hit twice because it's a luxury service, because people pay an upcharge for food, an upcharge for alcohol, an upcharge to enter a space, and then the entertainment value of it. Some people might not be able to spend the money now because there's a lot of people out of work. So I think that industry nights were very popular because bartenders, DJs, barbacks would go out to other clubs on the nights that they had off and they'd spend their money. But now all those people are out of work for a really long time, so they kind of have to make up. So once clubs reopen and restaurants that are clubs reopen fully, they're going to be working at a diminished capacity. So if it's 50%, you're only going to get a 50% clientele that might not spend the same as they used to. And you're not going to get as many service people that come in and tip, and they know what it's like to actually work in the club. So they're going to give a little extra. So I'm entirely pessimistic. And I think that there's going to be a lot of contagion that goes on at nightclubs, potentially forcing them to be reduced again to smaller. And I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think that there's a back to normal for us for a very long time.
Yeah, I think, I don't think you're wrong in the sense that when even Hong Kong and South Korea reopened, the first place that they pinpointed as where everything popped up was a guy that went to 4 different nightclubs in one night, and they were like, he's now exposed X amount of people, just this one person.
And that's the one they reported on. How many other people went under the radar? That's my concern.
Right. So, yeah, I wouldn't even call what you're saying pessimistic as much as probably closer to realistic.
Very real.
It just sucks that realism is pretty negative right now. and what we do, I know a lot of us, why I appreciate, everyone on this panel so much, including my co-hosts, is we've all learned how to do what we love, but also put our different eggs in different baskets based on the type of gigs we do or the other ways that we generate revenue. And it's people always say, like, how do you stay as a DJ, like, as your job? Like Art was saying earlier, I've never really held like a true like office job or anything. I've only done art for a living, and it's a blessing, but it's a sacrifice. But then you have to learn how to put different eggs in a basket. And then, like you said, Konflikt at a pandemic, even being a diverse DJ, and it still shuts off on you to a way that you're like, my gosh, like, what am I supposed to do here?
I think style lounges are going to be the first to open because they can create a better atmosphere. Because when you have a big space like 1,000-person club, if you're opening at 25 or 50% capacity, it's going to look like an empty room. It's going to be impossible to generate a vibe. And some clubs might not even be profitable at 50%. I was speaking to a club owner last night, and he told me, if the 25% rule would apply to me, I wouldn't even open. That doesn't cover the overhead of paying the employees, the power, the product, the cleaning, and the potential liabilities that might come across if somebody catches something and they sue me because they think they got it at my venue. So it's, it's being I think it's being pessimistic because some people are like, oh, it'll be great. It'll come back to normal eventually and everyone's going to be dying to go out and party. And I don't know. I don't see it.
Tina, what were you going to say?
I'm curious because I know someone else had mentioned that clubs are open. They don't feel comfortable going at Konflikt. I'm curious if you're going to turn down gigs in other states that are fully open and want to book you, if they're going to be like at a capacity that you're not comfortable with. I don't even know the answer for myself, but it just made me wonder when you were talking about that.
I think for the foreseeable future, let me caveat this answer. I was already I wanted to wind down my travel because I've done it for a decade, and I'm starting to realize that I prefer a $500 gig down the street where I can go to sleep in my own bed versus a $3,000 gig across the country. And that's kind of where I was leaning towards already. And this is kind of like the final push that I needed to be like, nah, I'm cool, man. I'm just going to stay home. So, unless there's some sort of a magical bump in the rate that clubs pay, and they're paying double or triple what we used to make when we travel, I don't see myself traveling in the near midterm at all.
I also think rates are going to go hella down now.
I agree.
Yes.
Even some of the spots that have opened here, like the restaurants that I've been telling you, like I haven't accepted anything, and I've been offered like probably 5 or 6 different things at this point, and half of them rates are cut in half, and I'm just like,
right.
Like at this point, it's just not even like I'd rather just stay home. It's not worth me trying to.
I spoke to a buddy in Arizona that he just posted recently. He's like, "Oh, we're back in business." He's playing again, and I'm like, "What rate are they giving you?" And he's like, "Same as before." So, it might be dependent on the market. Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, there is one gig that I'm doing right now that's paying my regular rate, and they just have me live streaming, so that's the only way I was like cool with it. But for the most part, you're right. Everything is going to be going down for sure.
Well, here's the thing. To me, it's 2 words: hazmat pay. Like at this point, it's hazmat pay, man. And like I think collectively, we've known this for a long time. It's almost impossible to have a DJ union or a guild, and I'm sure in your local cities or even on a bigger scale, in DC, a lot of the DJs we get along pretty well, I would say. For I've heard some cities are different, but DC is a pretty open city. As long as you're respectful to the craft and the art and not being a jerk and undercutting people, we all kind of get along and understand that we're friends and we're competitors at the same time. But, we've always tried to kind of somehow keep a hold. And, if you give a promoter or a club owner an inch, they're going to take a mile. And it's really important for DJs to stand together and not allow, everybody out there, if you're taking gigs and you're undercutting or saying, yeah, I'll do it for cheaper, you're doing a disservice to the entire community of DJs, especially at a time when people are seriously risking their life to try to go out there. And, we've got to be smart about this for our safety. And go ahead, brother.
Devil's advocate here. I agree with what you're saying. And I think in a normal time when the market is at a normal stage, that would be the best advice, the sound advice, and the advice I would give anyone. The problem now is that you potentially have guys that are out of work in a lot of different sectors. So if the old spot paid 500 and now they're offering 150 and that guy has a family and he goes, yeah, I'll do it. I don't know if saying, you shouldn't undercut is the best idea, because some people might be in a lot worse straits because they don't have multiple revenue streams. So if there's ever a time to understand undercutting, it's now. And it should be, I think, reserved for like the final last choice for anyone out there. But again, if somebody has to feed themselves or pay the rent and they have a family or, an Oscar to take care of, like Tina, then an undercut right now, I understand it. I think it's not the worst thing that they could do.
Well, I think undercutting pre-corona was kind of like it was a part of the competitiveness of it, the pettiness, the new person that just wants to get in front of people. And we never really like hated on people in the sense of like them feeding their family, because people just wanted to break into the scene, so they do it super cheap. And now it's like we can have a little bit more compassion, like Konflikt is saying, for the reasons why people would be taking less money, and try not to judge them for it. Because at this point, I think most of all the egos I used to see have been dropped down. I mean, when this whole thing hit, I saw VIP hosts that were the man at the door that were posting if anybody needs, handiwork at their house, or I just got a job here, like and I appreciate that so much, because at the same time I saw people not live streaming and asking for donations, because at least you're doing something, but just straight up asking for donations. Like, here's my Venmo. I'm out of work. I have nothing against the live stream asking for money, but do something. All of us are fully able-bodied, capable, talented,
legitimate online panhandling.
people. DJing is something that takes a lot of skill. So I hate to think that people are just sitting around thinking that that's the only thing they're capable of doing, because all of us
starting OnlyFans.
Well, at least you're providing content.
Already got one, bro.
No.
Got one.
And Konflikt, those are great points and a good other side of that perspective. And I think maybe finding a balance between doing everything with a understanding of not allowing yourself to be taken advantage of, because it's a flip side of that. And also at the same time, I got 2 kids, I got a wife. I totally understand feeding a family and what comes into that. And we all have to look at ourselves and know that we're trying to do the best we can. But at the same time, it's like if you're getting cut so bad that when you look at your hourly rate, you could, what are you risking at that point? Like if it goes worse, and like you went out of the house for $150 and then you get sick, you're going to be out a lot more than that and some. And to me, it's like there's got to be a balance of making sure that the people that are doing this job are not getting maybe more money, but we all know DJs in general, even like local DJs in big cities get taken advantage of. They get run through an area where people say like, oh, I can get 10 guys to come in cheaper than that, and they use that against us. So I'm worried that they'll use it further against us, and it's about finding that balance, I guess.
Well, I think this is something I spoke to DJ Kova and DJ Audio One about on their show about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And what I think I'm going to tell everyone in the audience here what I said on that one. That is something that we should all help spread. I don't think that there's a problem right now accepting a diminished rate. There's some guys that are like, no way, we're worth what we're worth. It doesn't matter. Well, here's the thing. If a club's open at 25% or 50% capacity, you can't expect to get paid the same. I don't think so. And nightclubs might wait until there's 100% capacity allowance to reopen. But we don't know that yet. So what I think is now is the time to regroup and actually implement contracts. And so when they come to you and they say, hey, I want you guys to come in at a quarter of what you used to get paid. You say, you know what? I need the money, but let's put a contract in place that in 6 months, it'll go back to normal rate. Let's put a contract in place that in 3 months, we're going to analyze and I'll get a 25% raise. There's something in place to basically leave that door open legally, so you can come back to the table with negotiating power for the future. Now, if we all start doing that, if we're all, we do our due diligence in advance, and when guys that own clubs come to us and say, hey man, I can't pay you the same, it's like, okay, I understand because you're diminished. but I'm providing you the same work that I was giving you before this all happened. So in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, your choice. Let's reassess and get me back to the right rate, which is what I should be paid for the work I'm doing.
That's a great point, and something hopefully we could see implemented across the board. I think, you know, DJs in general have always been very business savvy guys, girls. Like Tina, like you're saying, it's like, you know, most people find their way into DJing. It's the skill and the art is something, but you also have to have a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit to be a DJ. And, you know, Impulse, you were, even before this, you started to kick off a newer kind of version of your life doing photography and this newfound love that you have for that. How have you been able to take, you know, being like a pretty heavy travel DJ and start to translate into a new profession for you?
I started with the photography and video stuff just as kind of like a passion, because I think as a lot of DJs, especially DJs that travel, or just DJs that gig a lot, you know, you get that DJ burnout, and it really affects you mentally, physically, all of the above. And I just needed to step away for a minute and just kind of find something else that I could, you know, get that was artistic. And that's when I started picking up cameras and really diving into that. And you know, as time went on, you know, I started connecting with business owners and things like that and helping them with their social media, which kind of pivoted me to doing something else. And what was funny is me doing that would allow me to pick and choose when I wanted to DJ, instead of having to get on a plane and go do something, or just play music that I just did not want to hear anymore. And that was, yeah. And then that's pretty much how it flipped. And it really helped me find my love for DJing again, which was very helpful. And so now, you know, I do both. I'm very choosy with what you know, where I DJ and what I'm doing, and just not, like, you know, just not whoring myself out anymore.
Sure. Well, we're glad that you're happy with your DJing abilities.
Yes.
Because Pocket Master right here, bro. You guys.
I want to ask a question, because we were talking about rates to everybody in here. Is anybody still owed? Like, are there receivables? Like, I have one large amount that I'm still owed that, like, I'm gonna wait like maybe 2 more weeks, and then I'm gonna go off on Twitter. It's like, you know, a corporate company, but are any of you guys have any receivables?
I got my last one a month ago, but I waited a little over a month for it. Yeah.
I did until about 2 weeks back.
Well, I've been able to collect.
Zoe, what city are you in?
What's that?
Where do you live?
I live in Los Angeles.
Where was the gig?
It was at the I don't know if I want to say, but it's a Marriott.
Put him on blast.
Marriott, I'm coming for you. You better give me my fucking money.
What city is the gig in?
What city? West Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
You know that hotel.
So yeah, I'm owed some money too, but I haven't reached out.
Yeah, I'm owed some money too, but there were people that I have long-term relationship with, and I feel like, you know, they're gonna do right. It's kind of what you were saying, Conflict, and you know, we really have to, you know, I think a lot of us are gonna fall back into places and clients that we have really good relationships with, and work together where you have that communication to be able to, and maybe a little bit of the latitude to have something that's in place where you're working together to get you back to whole again. But yeah, the places that owe me money are places that I have done business with for over a decade, and I wouldn't even think. I know they're going through hard times, and I know that also they're gonna do their best to get me right when they can. But yeah, if it was a corporate, like what you're saying, Zoe, it's like, yo, you've got to be your own advocate, because they're gonna push you down
Edition hotels. What the fuck?
There it is.
They're grabbing money from the PPP, man.
Speaking of the locals and the traveling DJs, I think that actually local DJs are gonna probably come back and take over far before, clubs aren't gonna be booking headliners or flying people in. They're gonna be focusing on their locals. So, I think a lot of local DJs, and hopefully the people that have good relationships, people will look at it like support small business. A DJ is a small business, and your local DJ, hopefully they'll support them. And then us traveling DJs will be the last, when budgets come back way later. But I think, I forget who said it, but I want to go back to doing some more local dive bar, play whatever you want gigs that are more fun anyway. So
I was just going to ask Konflikt if that's what, is that what your plan is? Like down in Miami, not traveling anymore, getting back into the scene?
100%. I'm going to invest my time and energy into the local scene, but it all is contingent upon how the pieces fall. At this point, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. I look at Houston, I look at Tampa, and I see these pseudo nightclubs opening up, and they're kind of like, let's see what happens. Because if it goes good, if it goes well, great. Then we're going to have some more open up, and things will slowly ease back into a new sense of a normal. But if it doesn't go well, and if we go the South Korea route or we go the Hong Kong route, then holy fuck, like we have to pivot. We're all not going to make money off clubs. What are we doing? So my energy right now is kind of, it's fluid. It's like, if the opportunity arises locally, 100% attacking it. And if it doesn't arise, I am still making contingent plans in my brain as to other things that I might want to do.
That's what's up.
What's up? Just hold that thought. Let's take a break. It's 10 o'clock right now. We were having trouble, technical difficulties on the stream, on the Facebook, but it's back up right now. So once again, everybody on the stream, if you're enjoying what you're seeing tonight, just click that like button, basically share the stream.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. There it is.
Tell your friend. And if you want to join the Zoom chat, we got some people in here right now. Big shout out to Flo. Where is he?
Hey, full lobby. What's up, brother?
Yeah, shouts to the chat. I see friends of mine that are not DJs. I think my sister's in here somewhere.
But yeah, if you want to join the Zoom chat, basically just hit up that link on the screen on the stream right now, bit.ly/the9at9, and 10 o'clock. It's that time. We usually do a weekly segment, since with Sean J. Since everybody's live streaming nowadays, we are gonna do the tech tip of the week. So, Sean J, take it away. Yeah, if you wanna join the
Oh yeah. All right, so I got requested by somebody, one of my homies in the chat, to do something with the 808/505. It's a 505, so I'm gonna do this in the background. All right, guys. Tech tip for the week. I have been camouflaging what's actually happening in my house. Anybody on IG who's checked my stories kind of knows what's going on here. But I'm going to take the filter off so everybody can see real fast the big reveal. So I'm going to clear out this virtual background, and let's talk about this thing. Green screens. Boom. Magic.
No filter.
So we had a conversation amongst ourselves with the host, Geometrix Stylus Chris, as one of myself on Monday. And Stylus Chris said, hey, those party stores? They have those tablecloths that everybody hates that are plastic, and they cost like $1 a piece. So I had the idea, you know what? Let's do something with that and create a green screen. And what I'm going to do now is show you how I put this together, and the reasoning behind this is actually inspired by KONFLIKT. So let's jump into the box. I'm going to pull up my OBS setup so everybody can see what the aftermath looks like. So can everybody see that on the screen?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
There we go. All right, so this is the after, and here is, if we start eliminating some of these layers, here is the before. We're going to talk about two different things. Alpha channel, which is that layer right there, and then, of course, chroma key, which is the actual green screen. I've got OBS window with these three scenes. So the alpha channel is just an image. I made this image traced off of the background that I had on Zoom. It's literally, I went in on my webcam that I've been using for live streams in front of me. It's a wide angle, so I took a screenshot of that output. I traced over the edges that I wanted to mask off, and that's the purpose of an alpha channel. You can write something, draw something, save what you want in an image, and if you save it as a PNG, the transparent background then becomes the part that becomes visible, and the green stuff you see is the stuff that I actually drew on there. So I'm going to open up the filters so you can see there's no filters, no effects. I just took the selector tool, outlined what I needed, and colored it green. Now, this next layer down is calling that alpha channel scene. So you see it right there on top. Display it again. But this time it's green. Why is it green? This time we are using the image mask. What an image mask for the alpha channel actually enables is the transparency to come through. Otherwise, it would just be black like it was before. And then we added in the chroma key. The chroma key is added to the webcam itself. That's a filter that makes the green background disappear and become transparent. So you combine the alpha channel from that green overlay and the chroma key, and you get all black behind me. Then when you put this all together, this scene right here is calling on the previous scene. So the source material in here is coming from that. It's the two put together. And then we add in a background video. Oh, now I got something that I can live stream. This took me like 16 hours to put together, but now this is what my live stream looks like. Here's why this was all inspired. So shout once again to our guest KONFLIKT.
You are the man, Sean.
Hey man, I'm just a guy doing some stuff. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. Here's the idea. As places open up, as the venues, the clubs, the bars, what have you open up, it's going to likely be graduated just like we've spoken about here. And I actually kind of want to pose this as a question as well. My thought was I am more able to take gigs. I am more able to present myself as somebody who's ready for work and is bringing something special to the table by being able to change my background and make it feel like an event, not just my bedroom like it is with the green screen filter off. So thought therein, we talked about the graduated rate increases or putting that on paper. I want to emphasize and underscore that. DJs, do not be afraid to negotiate. Please, for the love of God, we've been fighting this fight for so long. Does anybody feel like this is going to be the new normal or part of the new normal, having to present yourself as a live streaming DJ to the nightclubs, either as we're ramping our way back up to things opening, or is this going to be just a thing that only exists on the internet? That's my thought therein. So if anybody wants to take that, feel free.
I'll take it. I have a lot of thoughts about that one.
Do it.
Yeah. So the first is I was actually asking myself this question as before I was getting ready to hop on the live stream is if, or in the Zoom call, I mean, rather, just to use a better term, if live streaming is the future of DJing, I have to ask myself if I want to be a part of the future of DJing. Because I don't necessarily like live streaming. There's a certain high that you get from working with a live crowd that I do not get live streaming. And even though I can be just as artistic, there isn't as much pressure on me that I put on myself when I'm in my living room as when I am in front of a bunch of people and I have to perform. There's something else. So that's the first piece. The second piece is right now we're kind of in a no man's land in regards to live streaming. Where do we do it? Instagram Live on us. We get copyright strikes. Twitch, it's kind of like a gray area, but there's not a green light. Let's monetize it. You can get tips, but that's like kind of using the back end of the system. There's really, Mixcloud is trying out live streaming, and that's really the only place that's DJ friendly. Other than that, you do have YouTube, but again, who wants to put their account up for the chopping block if you get too many copyright strikes? So there's no medium right now that is DJ friendly enough for us where we can monetize that makes sense for me. And I'm not going to push I'm not going to push a company that doesn't want me. If you're not going to support me, then fuck you. I'm not going to do live streams on your shit and get fans and do something cool for your platform. If I'm doing it under the radar, like why bother?
I'm hoping that Mixcloud really runs with it though, because I know they're in the beta testing, but just in terms of like them being able to host mixtapes and not pull them down, I'm hoping that somehow translates into their version of the live stream,
Yeah, and we actually got a really good question on the chat here from Phenomenal, or maybe it's Phenomenal. So I apologize if I'm reading that wrong, but they were asking, are any of you guys getting any virtual live stream gigs? Like, are you actually getting paid to live stream any of you?
I did one today, yeah, and one tomorrow too.
Dope.
Done a bunch actually.
Dope though.
What have you been doing, Zoe?
Are these like private Zoom parties or are they strictly on?
No, I've done a bunch
Facebook?
on Instagram Live for MGM Casino, which is where I DJ in Vegas. So we went on their account, and I did Jack Daniels last week, which they allowed me to go live on my own account. But for some reason, they got angry at me because I was taking shots. And I was upset about that. I'm like, yo, it's Jack Daniels.
Wait,
Like,
Jack Daniels?
yeah, they were like,
were you
they were
taking
like, no
shots?
shots.
Wait,
And
what
like,
kind of shots though?
It was Tennessee Honey. It was pretty good. Have you tried that one?
That is really good.
Yeah.
Tasty on ice.
But I didn't really fully read the contract, and it was saying like, don't promote excessive drinking, and then they're texting me from the same phone in which I'm live streaming from.
Right.
So I'm just ignoring all the text messages, and then all of a sudden I see like 20 comments in the chat like, no more shots, no more shots, no more shots. I was like, all right, I guess no more shots.
You thought you were being a brand ambassador.
Yeah. But whatchamacallit? I would say that Twitch is the superior platform. Shout out to Sean J. You showed us how to do all that. I have no idea how to do that. That's why my boy Tony right there, he does everything when we go on Twitch.
Did Tony pick any?
Shouts to Tony.
Question.
But
Shouts to Tony.
I did like a bunch on Instagram Live, and I would say Twitch is probably the superior platform. It's a bit difficult to navigate. I'm not understanding it. I'm still learning. But will it become the new norm? I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of view with conflict here. I'm not too sure. It's just something that I'm doing to pass time. And in the meantime, I've gotten a couple of cool gigs. I got the MGM one, Jack Daniels. I had something on Amazon Music on May 30th. So there's some cool opportunities like here and there. But Twitch is pretty fun, except for the other day, yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago when I was streaming. Just for some reason, we could not figure out what the fuck was going on, and the sound kept on like cutting in and out, and it was like horrible. For the first 30 minutes, it's really bad. So that was a pain in the ass to deal with. But then, Twitch, you can kind of fuck around versus IG Live because I was still just talking shit on the microphone, whatever, engaging with the chat. And then when we fixed it, I was like, psych. That was a segment we like to call the troubleshoot, where we fucking sound check for 30 minutes. Gotcha, guys. It was a prank. They thought it was all funny.
That's how you're a professional. Bam.
And Zoe, I think I saw you. You weren't just on the music performing arts category. I saw you on a just chatting section. I don't know whose stream it was, but you were DJing for I don't know, maybe like
Dumbfounded, yeah. So we do a show every Friday at 5 p.m. Yeah. And
I mean, that's what's
Twitch
great
is
about
supportive.
Twitch. It's like it has more of a broad audience, I noticed, than Mixcloud. I think that's what's going to be the biggest con for Mixcloud is like, how could you get the normal person to go to Mixcloud? At least some of them are already going to Twitch because of the gamers and even some of the podcasts.
I clearly haven't spent enough time on Twitch, even though I have an account. But like the idea is like, when you go to a site and they use all this stuff based on your previous searches and the stuff you're searching. When I go to the front page, I see nothing but video game shit.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
like,
it's all
what
gaming.
the fuck is going on? Like I want music stuff,
I mean, to be honest, I feel like Twitch is just like any other site where I feel, at least myself, the Twitch is mostly gamers. It's always been a gaming thing.
Yeah, that's
clear. You're still dragging, like your question earlier was, how are we going to get people to go to Mixcloud? I don't really see a difference than Twitch because your average person isn't on Twitch regularly if they're not a gamer. Like this DJ shit on Twitch is like a brand new thing.
But you have the possibility of like having gamers go to your channel. You have possibility of like podcast people going to your channel. That's I found what's good about like Twitch is like it has a way bigger audience than Mixcloud.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here. I feel like I've heard stories now of people getting flagged on Twitch for copyright now too.
Yes.
Yeah, on the replay. They have, so after you're done streaming, it saves the replay. So you can choose to either share that with your audience or keep it private or delete it. And yeah, they can get flagged on the replay. So you
So
can
they just
delete
won't
it.
post your replay.
Well,
Yes,
Here's what it does. So on Twitch, if you're doing a live broadcast, instead of taking it down like Instagram and Facebook will, they only mute the replay for the copywritten part. And YouTube does the same thing, but the way Twitch does it, they don't interrupt the broadcast. So this conversation has been going on for weeks now. What, 9 weeks? What is time anyway? But like the whole idea is that they're not going to take you down, which is kind of like the important factor. You're trying to interact with the people in the chat room. Twitch's entire business model is based around getting people to interact with you while you're live streaming. But on the other hand, the analogy to all of the different platforms at hand, Twitch and Mixcloud, you can kind of compare to a boutique store where if you're in the mall and you're shopping for something, you're going specifically for the thing that they specialize in. Where Twitch is definitely focused on video gamers, and they've got all the infrastructure, and they got a payment system and all that stuff built in. Mixcloud, it's specifically for DJs, but who's the audience? Just DJs. Instagram, to me, feels like if you're walking in the mall, in the hallway of the mall, back when outside was open, Instagram is those little kiosks that try to sell you hand lotion and everything, and they try to grab you and put you in, put it all over your hands. You don't care. You're just trying to get to, I'm trying to go to Nordstrom or whatever. And then Facebook is like going to somebody's house or someone's like locally owned shop where you're like, oh, I feel comfortable in here, but they have rules and I'm kind of pushing the rules on what's allowed. So they're still going to pull you down if you're breaking the terms and conditions that you agree to.
That's the cops coming to the house party.
Yeah, that's the cops raiding the house party. So like you kind of just got to pick your poison. And I specifically have been stepping away from Instagram just because.
Yeah, Instagram is creepy. It feels weird. It actually feels weird.
And then I'm like, yo, there's like 3 people paying attention. Maybe it's because I'm too small, or maybe it's just they shut me down at 25 minutes every single time. But it just feels.
You're a poet, bro. That analogy was crazy.
That was fire,
And that was a great analogy.
Yeah, that's gonna be a replay clip.
Well, here's the thing.
Adrian's got
thing with Twitch, to what Ku was saying a minute ago. On their contract, they say on Twitch that you're not allowed to play other people's music. So to me, it's only a matter of time before they start having the same issues that Facebook and Instagram are coming upon. They're just if you're able to just say, hey, I have a Twitch page and get a whole bunch of followers, then and it doesn't really, if you're at that level, then it's great. But if you're a younger DJ or somebody that's on more of a local side or not as well known, and you're trying to build a new following on Twitch, it's a lot to invest in something that in 4 months from now might be like completely canceled. And if you're going to start from zero, you might as well start on Mixcloud at a place where they're at least allowing you to do it, and you know that you're going to have people that are truly looking for the music aficionados, and it's not the same way. 80% of the people looking for music right now didn't know about Twitch 6 weeks ago. Yep. So there's no reason why those same 80% of people can't learn about Mixcloud just in the same, in a place where DJs are safe to do it. But
I think I've seen so many people now on, I think a Headliner or Five, they did an interview with Twitch maybe 2 weeks ago or something. And since then, we've been streaming on Twitch maybe for 8 weeks now. I've seen like a surge of all the homies in there, like Five, Franzen, Miles Medina, Jay Espinosa. Like, I'm seeing mad DJs
Twitch is the
on
new
Twitch.
hangout spot.
And then I see in the chat, it's all DJs, and they're like talking shit. And what's cool about Twitch is like you can subscribe to a channel to show your support, and then what that does is it unlocks emojis. So you can have an emoji of your face, or Miles Medina's face, or Four Color Zach's like clomp thing, So it's a cool way to engage your audience, but I do see what you're touching on, that gray area of the copyright, and it is kind of interesting.
So let me ask you this: like, have you incorporated any of the tricks that gamers are using? Like,
for sure, yeah.
I know you can rehost, certain streams on there, and bring people from one, stream to the next.
Yeah, we've done all that, and then even I'm just approaching DJing differently. Whereas like when I DJ, a club or live for people, in real life. Like I just always try to be so precise, so clean. I want it to come in correct, like make sure the scratches are on point. With Twitch, like I'm like, Trump did his like speech about the ultraviolet light, like, injecting bleach and shit. And I was like, yeah, let me scratch that this week. And I kept on scratching tremendous. And, people love that. So I'm taking the meme culture into, DJing. And I've seen like people really enjoy that.
People love that stuff though.
That's dope. Yeah, and that's definitely the point. Is like, I think for guys that have the ability to just to tell their social media, hey, I'm on Twitch now, and then instantly pop an audience, and then use some of those things. It's really great, and there is a lot of. I mean, you said Rich Medina's stream. I mean, that's one of the most incredible live streams I've seen of any DJ. This whole. On any platform. I mean, from the music selections to the quality of the stream to the interaction that's on there. Like it's really dope what he's doing. If you guys haven't seen Rich Medina's, everybody watching out there, check out Rich Medina's stream. But like, for somebody that's kind of coming up, it's a little bit probably intimidating to try to jump in that pool.
So I have a question for people that are live streaming. What's the end game, or what's the payoff, or what's the rationale for live streaming? So I've kind of like broken down. Maybe there's another option that I haven't thought of, but the first thing that I've thought of is you're live streaming because you want to have fun. So you want to present the art form of DJing, and you're enjoying yourself. In which case, the amount of people that watch you shouldn't be important because you're doing it for whoever's there. And then on the other hand, you have live streaming to keep your name current, potentially gain new fans, and then translate that into future income or future gigs. But both of those options to me seem like they might not be entirely worth the effort, because I can DJ by myself and have a good time here in my household and express myself artistically. But for example, I can be a painter in my house and not necessarily have an art exhibit. Right? And I can paint as many frames as I want and keep them here and, have a good time. And, oh, this is a new stroke. I haven't figured this out. Oh, here's a new landscape I haven't done before. Things like that. So I'm having a tough time understanding, like, when somebody goes all out for a live stream, or when you really present a show, like what's the rationale behind it? Like, maybe we all have different ones.
The first one that pops into my mind is to feed mouths. Not me personally, but if some people got to feed some mouths, maybe that's one way in the interim to do it. But yeah.
But can the revenue be high enough to do that? I mean, how much money can people actually make off a stream?
You could make a lot if you have a lot of viewers, but I think
a lot. What's a lot?
Probably like 25,000.
Wow.
Okay. On what platform and how many viewers?
How many viewers would you need to get like paid a lot? He's a Twitch expert. Tony.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
What's up?
So, what
was the question?
How much to get paid a lot?
Can I monetize Twitch?
On Twitch, so the way Twitch works is you get money from subscribers, and basically people will pay $5. There's like 3 tiers on Twitch, but let's just say tier 1. Tier 1
subscription model. They have Twitch has a subscription model.
$5 a month for you to support the streamer that you like, and half of that goes to the content creator and half of that goes to Twitch. And then you keep amassing those subs, and you also get donation tips, and then eventually you can get sponsorships, deals, and that all adds up. And I know a few streamers that make like 5 figures a month just from doing that.
But they play video games.
Yeah, they play games, but I, with all this going on, I'm seeing a lot more DJs, and there's this. I'm sure you guys know Kenny Beats. He has he has like thousands of viewers. And I'm seeing like he's already getting thousands of subs, and that's racks.
50 racks.
That's racks. Yeah, racks a month. So just sitting in the
people
street
to try to
beats.
push it for it to happen. That's one other thing too. If no one's doing it, then it's not going to go anywhere.
I have maybe a bit of problem with the subscription model, specifically because we're using music that we don't own. So I think it might be a matter of time before Twitch either does something for us where they go, hey, we're going to pay you a little less. Maybe instead of getting half the subscriptions, you get a third, but we're also going to take care of the ASCAP and the label fees and all that shit on the back end. So you're free to do it. Or they're going to say, hey, all you assholes that are using copyright stuff constantly can't do it anymore, or we're going to remove your right to have a subscription base because you're using copyright material.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's a gray area right now.
Right.
So,
Well, and that's where
it's something to do, you know.
I like the
Going
mixed
crazy.
point that Konflikt was making before, and it really is very valid right now. Anybody who's advocating for us as DJs, I think, is really who we really have to strongly consider the best option, because they've taken care of the ASCAP BMI stuff already, and otherwise we're navigating this gray area that we're all talking about right now. And actually, to answer your question, Konflikt, my end game for streaming is kind of what Impulse was talking about, and yourself as well, that like there's a point where getting burnt out with DJing just very, very regularly. I do a lot of mobile events, and for the most part, for the last like 5-6 years, I've been backing away from the clubs and only being very selective about the ones I say yes to, because I know that my bills get paid from the mobile events I do. But I can do less mobile events and slowly become less visible in the DJ space as long as I have something to fill that space. For me, the end game is I've been focusing on production for the last few years, and now I'm trying to put that as the forefront thing, because that can exist on Twitch, because it's ultimately stuff that you don't have to worry about copyright clearances with. But it's a long play, and just like Zoe, your boy, was saying, it really does come down to a lot more of the multi-streams of income with partnerships and brand deals is really how you make a living out of that. I don't know if that's my dream, but if that's what it takes for me to not break my body carrying speakers and hiring roadies, that kind of sounds like a win.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating that like my life will be a streamer. When I changed my bio to say I used to be this, that, and this, and now I'm a Twitch DJ, it's kind of a joke, but we were, you know, my boy Dumbfounded started his Twitch early, like March something, and I was doing it on his every week for like 6 weeks, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Why don't I just start my own? So that's kind of why I started my own.
Well, going back to what you were saying, Konflikt. What's the motivation? I mean, from my, on my end, like I'm a retired club DJ, so I don't have to worry about that life. But I do, most of my revenue comes from like private events, the corporate events, the weddings, mobile gigs, that sort of thing. But like I think, yeah, it's totally different from everybody. Like I didn't want to go out there and stream like every day, every week, just for the hell of it. Like my motivation was like, for the only public stream that I ever did, I used it as a platform to raise funds for an organization that I truly believe in, like in the local area. I mean, we ended up like we did it for my birthday last month, and we raised up like $2,100 for families, for the pandemic that's like it's having a hard time with. Oh, we lost Tina. Oh. But other than that, like all I've been doing is just private streams, like on Zoom and private parties, really. But I mean, it's really different. Motivation is different on everybody. It just really depends.
Would you say your skills have sharpened?
Say it again.
Would you say your skills have sharpened? I think this quarantine has like everyone.
I wish it has, man. Like I mean, if I stream like more often, I probably would get my mojo back, man.
I would say that's what streaming has done for me. It's made me fall in love with scratching again, which is was my first love, before DJing.
Sure.
So I'm definitely scratching like more again, which is cool.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
God damn
that's
you.
One of the pluses, I guess, to being on that end of this whole thing. There's no one to tell you not to.
Yeah.
Sort of, So you're like, in your mind, you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna cut more. Usually you could go all out like that at the club, but then there's gonna be someone who's like, yo, move on.
Right.
I will say on a positive end though that I've seen like people's levels of creativity just kind of go through the roof with the streaming stuff. like just in terms of what people are playing and what they're selecting. Like I know for myself, every time I've streamed, because the only things that I've streamed on has been Instagram. But trying to curate playlists that aren't going to get flagged and touching those remixes that we never get to touch in a regular club atmosphere. Like I've had a lot of fun like curating these playlists that I know just aren't going to get flagged because you're not going to recognize this shit. Like
Chris does a great job with that as well. Like I love listening to Chris play because he weaves in and out of something that you might recognize, but then he'll go left a little bit, and it it helps with the Facebook police and all of that. But
I've just enjoyed watching.
It's very well curated.
I've just enjoyed watching like DJs play what they want to play, just on an artistic standpoint.
Yeah.
And just getting to kind of like know my friends better. Like, oh, this is the shit that you fuck with, like, because you're in the crowd right now, and I like to see the shit that you want to play. Like that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at Impulse, the interesting thing is I don't plan anything. I'm playing I'm lucky enough to play at venues where they actually want me to play my weird shit or the stuff that I care about. And the owner of the club, 18th Street Lounge, is an actual DJ himself, and he came on acid jazz and deep house, and he's a guy that like appreciates. When we first started DJing at 18th Street Lounge, they would be like, if anybody comes up and asks you for pop music, get the security and have them kicked out if you want. I mean, like, straight up to where the owner's like, I don't want to hear that stuff in the place that I pay the rent on. And this is a venue that's been around for 25 plus years. Owned by the Thievery Corporation, started the whole ESL, that whole movement. And so these guys are like purveyors of the underground sound. And even as time has changed and what we consider pop music, they're still always under the radar of where things are. And so DJing on my, back to kind of what you were saying, Konflikt, for me, my live stream is more about oxygen for myself. And how I've been a DJ for so long and not DJing has put my life into a really weird funk of not doing what I do so much. And the reason that I DJ and love it is because I love music in general. And when we teach young kids or 20-somethings or 30-somethings that come into the school and want to learn how to DJ, Gio and I always kind of had this mantra of, if you don't like really, really love, I'm not talking like, oh, I love music. I mean like love music to the point where you don't feel normal without music. I don't know how successful of a DJ you're going to be, because you have to truly love a passion for it. And so for me, playing that music that I love also connects me to people that are messaging me and saying like, you don't understand how dark my life has been, and not hearing music and going out. I feel that there's a lot of people that also are really loving hearing the music because they have anxieties or they have uncertainties, and a lot of these people the people that we're connecting with on our live streams don't go to clubs anymore. They're not like out on a regular basis. They're people that you've known 20 years ago, or they're people that you used to see in the club and then they just fell off, and then they're like, oh, I got married and had a kids and they're getting that feeling back, and you combine that with that sense of not having a connection to human beings in general, and their connection to music, and we're finding this really unique space of being able to really explore music in a new way. Or even if it's cutting, like cutting to me is like it's jazz, and when you see guys that really know how to cut, it's like seeing Charlie Parker or Miles Davis or any great jazz musician do, like play to their craft. And I think it's great that we're able to see that. Now, whether it lasts longer than this, it's hard to tell. We really don't have the data on where. But I think that there's always going to be an audience that is going to enjoy it one way or another.
Definitely. Big shout out to the jazz players, especially DJ As1 is one of them. Right now, we're going to hold that thought again. We're going to take a little station break. It's 10:30. It's time for As1's tip of the week.
Tech tip.
Real quick, guys. I apologize one more time for having technical difficulties with the live stream on Facebook, but it's now up. So
be back.
I see some people on there. Make sure to like and share the stream if you're digging what you're seeing tonight. But right now, let's go ahead with As1 with his DJ tip of the week.
All right. What's up, guys? I'm not gonna try to take up too much of your time this week. I guess my quick tip, DJ tip this week is about going wireless with wires. What does that mean? Okay, so tetherball is a game where the thing is tethered to the line is tethered. The string is tethered to the line, right? So that's typically what is happening when we're DJing. We are tethered to the mixer with our headphones. I think for me, I came up just like everybody else, headphones, but they always break a lot of times. And I was always just looking for something else. And I simply came across the simple idea of trying to figure out how to go wireless while at the club in terms of being able to, turn around. I could basically walk to the bathroom and still hear my cue. How do we do that? So you can use this with anything that sends audio through a receiver and a transmitter. However, you're going to want to look for something. Generally, wireless microphone kits do this. I'm going to show you something that is specific to something I found on Amazon actually for $100 at the time. This is the first version. I believe they came out with another version, but this is the Anleon S2T transmitter. So this bad boy right here is literally a transmitter, right? And what happens is when I go to plug up in the booth, I basically take up one extra power cable and I plug this into the back. We turn this bad boy on, and then we have a cable. Oh, yep, there you go. Sean knows what I'm talking about. Put Sean on the other a while back. You basically have this 1/4-inch cable that comes out, and I put this in the 1/8-inch input of my S9 or any other mixer. So basically, I'm running the headphone out of the mixer into this bad boy, turn it on, throw it into the corner behind the turntable, and forget about it. And this bad boy right here is just a wireless body pack transmitter. And I bought a, what do we call a angled. I bought an angled 1/8-inch adapter. So basically, this goes in the back of my pants. Wireless headphones. I also got these on Amazon. These are the Tin Audio. I forget the name, but these are literally $50-$60 for some of the most amazing in-ears that I spent for under $100. Even though I came from the world of having like custom in-ears, I had ultimate ear in-ears. It cost me like $800, and then I dropped them one day and they shattered. So yeah, put that down there. Boom. Kind of rock with one ear, and then next thing you know, you're DJing and you can do backflips, and that's my tech tip of the day.
All right.
But there's still a wire from your butt to the.
There's still a wire, but not wire.
No, well, there's a wire. The wire, so it basically just goes to here, and then everything is just kind of hanging out behind.
But at least he can walk away from the setup without getting that.
Yeah.
And he can go to the bathroom.
The headphones,
I could go out. Listen to his bathroom break mix.
Well, I can hear what's going on. Yeah.
But yeah, big shout out to for that tip. We do have students watching the stream. Once again, if you want to learn how to make scratch and make music, visit beatrefinery.com. Locations nationwide. So let's talk about DJ education.
Yeah.
You have the camp
spinoff.
Camp love it. Camp spinoff. For the past 11 years now, what are your plans for this year?
Well, this year, unfortunately, we had to cancel. It was supposed to happen June 18th. It's a week-long overnight sleepaway camp, which basically goes against every single social distancing rule that we're learning, unfortunately. I mean, we sleep 10 people to a cabin. We eat our meals buffet style. We're hiking, we're swimming, we're holding hands, running, playing, and just getting dirty in the woods. And there's nothing about that would be okay right now. And as far as the future, I'm not really sure. The vaccination, we do have kids that have proof of vaccinations to come to a summer camp. I don't know when this vaccination will come out, if that'll be required. But another thing I thought about is, well, if we require it, does that mean I have to get it and I have to require all my staff to get it? Because I know a ton of people who are not planning to get this vaccination. including myself. So, you know, I'm still kind of figuring it out.
Bringing like DJs to teach and you know, speak on, you know, on the art.
Sorry, what was that?
And you do have like guest DJs that come in and fly in to, you know, basically.
Oh
like,
yeah, sorry. I just let me backtrack a little because I just assumed everyone knew. But yeah, Camp Spinoff is a DJ camp where
Tell the viewers that don't know what Camp Spinoff is.
They learn. I'm a little rusty on my interviewing, but yeah, kids learn. They learn how to DJ. They learn how to produce music. We do a cabin challenge where they work as a cabin to create a track together, and they go around camp and they record original sounds and use those sounds to make an original track. So maybe it's frogs croaking or crickets or a basketball on the court will be there. You know, they use all that and compile it together in Ableton. They also were sponsored by Pioneer, so they learn how to put together mixes with colors. And they also learn on vinyl how to scratch and how to learn to find the one and drop on the one and all the basic 101 elements of DJing.
Wow. So you can get the full, like you get, from what I'm hearing, you can get a camp experience, but yet based around the idea of learning how to DJ and make music.
Yes. So that was the initial concept, is really taking that traditional summer camp experience of making s'mores and doing, you know, cheesy games, or going hiking and being in the woods. And then combining that with all the technology, which is like
right there, yeah.
Two totally opposite concepts, and putting it together. And we've had a ton of support from the DJ community, from different sponsors, and from guests. We've had Lil Jon and Mixmaster Mike, and Z-Trip has actually taught one of the classes at camp. And yeah, so it was a super bummer to have to cancel it. I did it pretty early on, you know, in March, because I just couldn't see us taking the risk, even though it wasn't until June. And I had parents kind of calling me out as being an alarmist, or, you know, when the weather warms up, it's all going to go away, and this and that. And I just had to really trust my instinct and say, you know what, we're a nonprofit, we're volunteer run, we have no one we have to prove profits to. There's no reason why we should take any risks at all, and just make the call to cancel it.
Really?
So I don't know what next year's going to look like. And unfortunately, you know, as much as I'm sad about canceling my camp, I'm thinking about, we rent summer camps. So those camps are having, I mean, how do those summer camps who make all of their money from, you know, they make their money from summer. So with everything being canceled, literally the venue we were using said that they're not going to be there next year. So I have to find a new location. And a lot of these camps, summer camps in New York, they're there for 3 months. They can't open. You know, there's all of their insurance policies specifically have a thing that says viral pandemic, like not covered. So none of their insurance is kicking in. It's much, I'm feeling much more for them than I am, you know. We can take a year off and we can come back, but a lot of these summer camps, I don't know what the future is for them, for the actual facilities.
What was the earliest? I mean, when was the earliest like registration for your camp for this year?
We start registration in Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving. So it's this whole like half-year process of. It takes us pretty much a full year to plan, between getting sponsors and locking in all the details and registration. And you know, I just wouldn't want to keep doing all that and then have to cancel last minute. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I honestly feel like people are going to be pretty traumatized from this whole thing. Now they're starting to see some studies in kids that are very scary from COVID-19. And the more that they go in that direction, the worse it will get for summer camps, you know. But I think schools will be the same. Like, what are schools going to do? Are they going to require this vaccination? Like, we just have to wait and see, you know.
I know with our school, I mean, we're right now like, you know, like pretty much most of our locations are closed. We're doing a lot of virtual DJ lessons, you know, on Zoom. Some places are reopening, and it's not a, you know, Chris, it's like we're probably just gonna not even like have like like our group classrooms,
It's a big part of the
anymore. Like, if we're just gonna basically do straight up one-on-one classes
Yeah.
on those lessons, but even that is like we have like half capacity on the
Yeah, I mean, for camp, like we definitely can't social distance, and so it just makes it hard. But people have suggested to me, like, can you try and do an online class, an online school, something like that. Sorry.
Oscar.
And I just don't ever see Camp Spinoff being an online thing, because it's not the vision. It's not what it is. Summer camp is about bringing people together, and if it's not going to be that experience, then it's
you don't want it.
I don't want to be an online school or anything like that. It's a very specific experience that I want kids to have. So,
well, I'll as a dad, I will say the places that I've seen offering virtual camp, I'm like, sign my kid up, because I've been homeschool dad for the last 3 months, and it is brutal. I mean,
I'm over it.
Like, I thought DJs were underpaid till I tried to be a teacher, and then you realize that teachers are just amazing human beings for the amount of patience that they have,
creative babysitters,
and the ability to especially I've got a 6-year-old who is just like, this is the greatest day of my life. My dad is home every day, and all he wants to do is like play Nintendo Switch and Wii and go out and play baseball and play one-on-one basketball and play hide and seek. And you're like, no, we got to do this work. Your teachers want, and he's like, no. And, if I can get, even if there's no summer camp, but the places that I trust were offering virtual camp, I'd be like, okay, anything to get my kids somewhat stimulated. And it's actually, and I know it's too late for you probably this year, but it's like, I really hope that somehow you can keep that camp going, because I've definitely known about it for a few years from when I first started seeing about it, and sending my kids to camp, how special camp is, and when you're combining camp with something that we love too, it's a really great thing that you do, and we hope that you're able to find your way back to doing it, and we're happy to support too, whatever we got to do to help you.
When you're back up and running, I want in. I want to volunteer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think the adults, I originally started because it's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy being at camp, and all of our staff, I think, have just as much fun as the kids. So, yeah, I have little moments where I get, like, triggered. Like, if I'm going through the yard at night with a flashlight, I have, like, a moment where I get sad about camp. But it'll come back. I mean, honestly, I think all of this, it's just a matter of time. Luckily, we're all at an age where we have time, and so if we can be patient, we'll see all of our favorite things that we enjoy come back,
Now, Koo, you said that Tampa is already like kind of popping off. Where do you feel your threshold is of like jumping back into regular gig life is?
I'm not even gonna attempt to think about that until we get to phase 2. Phase 2 is for bars and nightclubs, and we're not there yet. So I already told a lot of the owners and promoters and people that I work with up here or down here that I'm not doing it, man. I'm not doing it till phase 2. I don't want to risk it. It's not for me.
Phase 2 for bars, is it going to be like it? Because right now phase 1, I know some places they're doing outdoor.
See, it's the same thing with like the
outdoor, 50% capacity and having like, I know some DJs are doing gigs outdoors like right now during phase 1, but phase 2 is inside 50% capacity, or
it's going to be a limited capacity, just like the restaurants were. And I will say this, I feel like this is like hella pessimistic, but even with restaurants like opening at 25-50%. From what I've seen, at least, nobody's following that. It's just like once you give people a little bit, they take the whole thing. Like it's so hard to actually sit there and regulate every single business that's open. Like, oh, you're not at 50%. Oh, you're not at 25%. And everyone is, like I said, Florida's going to Florida. is fully taking advantage of that. You know, like there's really no difference the way that people are conducting business right now than phase 2, at least here in Tampa. You know, it's just, I don't know.
Oh, and I think every state has a different version of what phase 1 and phase 2 is.
Yeah.
Because I think at least in the DC, Virginia, Maryland, phase 3 is where nightclubs could open, or maybe even phase 4. It's like,
I want to say California, and you can correct me, Zoe, if I'm wrong, but it's like phase 4 or 5.
4, yeah.
Yeah,
California,
it's like it's way back there.
Yeah.
Impulse would if Vegas is calling you, are you going?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
What about you?
Yo, the last time I saw Zoe was in Vegas. I think he was at I think you were playing at Best Friend maybe, and I was playing at On the Record.
Shout out Eddie Mack one time.
Yeah.
At Mac Agency. Yeah.
And Tina, you were talking about how I think Vegas is one of those places where either so many amazing DJs have been born and bred there, or they move there and kind of call that their home. And do you see yourself kind of getting active if they start calling you and want you to play around town? Or
I would like to do stuff off the strip just to kind of start, and then it just depends when. I have to see the timeline, but I'm also going to watch other cities and wait a few weeks and see where the numbers are and kind of go from there. I'm honestly not super concerned about my dying from this. You know what I mean? If I was living with my parents in Seattle, it'd be different. I'd worry about exposing them, but Oscar's immune to it. You know, that's not the fear. I think it's just, what is that experience going to be like so I think I want to just dig into the local community more. Maybe even, I don't know, start a night with a friend where we can just go have fun at a dive bar kind of thing before trying to do any of these massive strip things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Have you heard much about like Vegas? Like I've heard some.
I talked to Eddie Mack today.
2021, 2022.
I don't know if it'll really be that long. I think I just can't really. There's so much money wrapped up that when they do get the green light, I think that they're going to go run with it. And I think that there will be a lot of young people coming over from California, like flooding over from California when they get their green light, that'll support it. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Zoe? I met you at, when we first met, you were playing.
Right?
You said you talked to Eddie today. Do they have any date in mind?
Yeah, so Eddie was saying that June, like early June, the casinos will open, and I said, well, what does that look like? What, clubs are going to open? He's like, that's very low on the list. He said slot machines, some table games. He said poker is out, but he talked to some people at MGM, and I don't know. Eddie's a very hopeful guy, so he said hopefully this year. But then I talked to Crooked. It's kind of a negative guy. Shout out to Crooked, my boy. And, he's like, it's done. It's a wrap. Not until 2021. So I think there's a lot of speculation, and people don't really know. I don't know. I don't have any.
I don't think anyone knows, to be honest with you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I've heard that the pools are definitely out for the summer. We won't be seeing that. In my mind, I would think. I think it's safe to say I probably won't be doing anything for the rest of the year as far as like nightclubs go. That's not going to include small restaurant, lounges, kind of off the strip, but and same with traveling gigs. I don't really see myself doing any traveling for the rest of the year. I do a ton of corporate events, and I just think they have way too much liability in having a huge conference, and that's, I'm sure all of you guys know too, we have all the production crews out there that are hurting just as bad as we are with all these big events.
All the conferences have been closed until like at the end of the year. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I was looking for some chairs, some little metal chairs that I found on Facebook, and I went to go pick them up, and it was a huge warehouse of all audio, like, and I'm like, well, you guys must do events. And he's like, oh yeah, we did all the corporate events, this, that. And he's like, we're selling everything because we don't plan on doing anything for easily the rest of the year. So it doesn't make sense to just sit on all those, all that stuff for that long.
Inventory. Yeah,
they had a huge warehouse and they were just getting rid of everything online. So the events industry is really, all of us. So yeah.
Hit, for sure.
But I think after 2021, it'll start to come back. I don't think it'll be till 2022. I think that's too much, but
let's hope. Pretty much 2 hours is almost up. Let's go ahead and get everybody's, just do a quick plug. Starting with you, Ku. What are you up to, and plug in whatever you want.
Still active on my Mixcloud, uploading mixes all the time. I just did one for Pitbull Globalization, mixcloud.com/DJKu.
Oh, got that.
Everything on Twitter
Chaos
and Instagram at DJKU.
Hey, I was drawing the Twitch thing. I want to send a designer so they do it for me. So I have like a template.
Sick.
So I was just figuring that out. I'm looking at Twitch streams. My Twitch actually is the only medium where I don't have my favorite DJ. So on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook.com/myfavoritedj. Those are my social media handles. On Twitch, it's my favorite DJ Twitch. So you have to write out my favorite DJ and the word Twitch. And I haven't done anything on there yet, but I mean, I'm going to try it just because I feel like it's worth the effort. But if I'm going to do it, this is the problem. When I do something, I put so much effort and time into it, and I want it to be the best.
That shows.
I don't want to get pulled for copyright bullshit. But anyway, I also have a podcast on Spotify and on the Apple Podcast app, which is My Favorite DJ as well. And it's DJ related topics and stuff about life that I sometimes start blathering about and can't stop. So if you guys like podcasts, when maybe you clean the house and you want to hear somebody talking in the background, that's the podcast for you.
Yeah. So
I want to give a very special shout out to Geometrix, man, because he is the guy that got me started in DJ when I was a kid. And I would just practice in my room. I'm talking about 9th grade through 12th grade. And I had like 3 friends. I would just practice scratching, right? But then I met Geo, this guy, and he was so nice. He taught me all these tricks. We linked up with Inferno and the whole crew. And these are, formative years of my life. I'm 16 years old, taking me to New York to go to the DMCs. I can't get in because I'm not old enough. Yep. It brings me back a t-shirt. I still have that t-shirt. I still remember that, Gio. I was a kid and you made a huge impression. And, we didn't connect for a while, but then we recently reconnected. And I just want to give a shout out to you, bro, because man, he had the
big shout out, little bro.
That wouldn't have
turntablenetwork.com. You remember your website, bro? Oh man,
yes. Legend.
I keep getting reminded that whenever I go to NAMM.
Yeah, you're the man, bro. And for plugs, I just Zomano, ZOMANNO. That's my last name, Mono. And then if you like scratching, I started scratching again, so I put some clips on my Instagram. You can check it out.
I used to love those tractor videos, man. Used to cut on.
Oh yeah, man! I haven't used Tractor in a while, but Tractor was awesome too.
Yeah.
I have 2 Z2s I'm trying to get rid of.
Oh, Tina.
Everything you can find me on. My handle's DJ Tina T. Camp Spinoff is the website's up. We've got tons of videos. If you want to check out videos and see what that experience looks like, it's campspinoff.com. And for me personally right now, I'm just taking a break. I guess I'm focusing on my other streams of income. If you come to Vegas, I have a few Airbnbs. So I'm hoping that when people start coming here, they're going to see a private house is a much safer way to stay.
Okay. I'm literally going to stay at your place.
You just told them
one of your places.
I'm definitely learning a ton of home renovation anyone who follows my stories knows I'm constantly
You're
just
gonna start the
building.
HGTV show.
Yeah, maybe I'll start getting into that kind of thing, house flipping, I don't know. But right now it's definitely keeping my mind off of everything that's going on. And, you know, sometimes I think the hustle of DJing is like hustle, crazy. And then right now I just want to, for the first time in a long time, you know, take a break. So.
Oh.
HG Tina T.
All right, Impulse. When are you streaming next?
Tomorrow night, actually. I do most of my streams on Facebook. Everything across the board is DJ Impulse. Yeah, just streaming here and there, keeping my mind off of the dumpster fire that is life. And yeah, just trying to stay positive. And it's been a pleasure seeing all of your beautiful faces today. And love you guys.
Love you, bro. All right, that's a wrap for the 9 at 9. 6 episodes in the books. Next week's episode, we're gonna talk a little sports with some NFL team DJs. So our guests for next week are 49ers DJ Adrian C. We have Pittsburgh Steelers DJ Digital Dave. Cowboys DJ EJ. Our very own Redskins DJ Premonition in the building. Go Skins. And also the Miami Dolphins DJ Ross B. So tune in for that one. Make sure to come back and see us live every Thursday night starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch the replay of this episode on Beat Refinery's Facebook or YouTube channels. New episodes are also uploaded every Monday to Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you consume and listen to all things podcast. So be sure to subscribe and rate us on all those platforms. We really appreciate the support and love from y'all. Again, this show is presented to you by Beat Refinery DJ School at Bach to Rock. If you want to learn how to mix, scratch, and make music, visit beatrefinery.com with locations nationwide. We'll catch you all next week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Signing out, guys. Everybody say peace.
Peace. Thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.